Generative AI is getting very popular. So this video is a little different than the others. In previous videos, I've talked about how to use generative AI, how to implement generative AI, how to do multi-agent based frameworks, how can you improve your RAG. But in this video, I want to use the next 2 to 3 minutes to talk about how do you get started learning generative AI. So one of the most in-demand skills right now is Gen AI. The ability to get started really quickly with AI and build some apps which are powered by your enterprise knowledge is very fascinating. And then there are deeper avenues that are opening up. So if you're somebody who is new in Gen AI, here's a very simple thought process for you as to how to get started. Start by some key concepts. Learn what LLMs are, learn what Gen AI is. There are a lot of courses that deeplearning.ai offers, and these are really short courses, free courses. You can also follow some amazing YouTubers like Krish Nayak, and a big shout out to him for doing the work that he's doing in India for learning Gen AI and data science in general. So that's a little about the foundation stuff. How do you get started working with generative AI? Right? Get some foundational knowledge. The next thing you need to learn is once you have known how and what it's helping you achieve, which is input and output, you should know a little bit of inner workings. Try and learn a little bit about transformer architecture. What is attention? What is single-headed attention? What is multi-headed attention? And different kind of concepts. Just gain a little bit of understanding about how they are and what they do. You don't need to get into the maths of it because that gets a little boring, confusing at the same time. So a little foundational understanding should be enough. Then you should hop on to learning something like a RAG architecture. And RAG architecture essentially is what everyone is using. So learn a little frameworks at this stage. Learn LangChain, which is very popular, Llama Index. Understand how OpenAI works, what are the endpoints that OpenAI has, how do token works and things like that. And once you get to this, right, you should be able to very quickly start working with LangChain and gain some understanding. You start by building simple chat interfaces, which are programmatic in nature. Then you start to make chains, then you start to make agents, then RAG and all of this. So all of this should take roughly about a month to learn. It's not very complex topic. It's, I think everybody can learn it. But you need to understand how to control the different parameters that these providers like OpenAI does. How do you control things like hallucination, what is temperature and whatnot. That's the second part of the conversation. So by now you should have spent somewhere about 1.5 to 2 months and you should have built a RAG architecture powered a simple chatbot. If you're looking for frameworks, watch my previous video in the series. I'll put link in the description. There's Chainlit for chat interfaces. You can use Streamlit for prototyping. LangChain is there. Llama Index is there. And all of these are more than good enough to start. You can directly use OpenAI endpoint, or if you want to have your own models, use something from Azure or AWS or Google. They have something like Bedrock, Vertex AI, AI Studio. Anything works. Now that you have gained some understanding and have been able to build prototypes, you should hop on to doing a little more advanced stuff. You can get into either agents or you can get into optimizing the workflows. Now, this is where things get interesting. Usually, you would see that if you're working with an LLM like OpenAI, the overall time taken to get the entire query completed, essentially in the case of RAG, could be higher. So how do you optimize this becomes a much more complex piece of the puzzle. So try and dive into that. Look at concepts like how can you stream outputs from OpenAI to your chatbot? How do you reduce the latency in between? Can you change protocols? Is there something else apart from REST? Those are the things you should be looking at. Once you're able to do that, I think you will be able to achieve a little bit of optimization, and then you get into more deeper goals and you try and study small language models, which could be purpose built, or you look at fine tuning it, which could be further, more deeper, more data science centric. So that's the natural progression. So I think I've taken about 4.5 few minutes. So I hope this quick generative AI introduction and how to learn Gen AI in less than 5 minutes was useful to you. Do watch the previous set of videos to get much more deeper dive in, and subscribe to the channel for more content around this space. Thank you. Bye-bye.